Hello everybody, this is Amanda Ellis of amandaellis.co.uk and Facebook page Angelic Celestial Colours. I'm doing a video broadcast here for July. I work with Archangel Metatron's energy, and this month we're going to be looking at relationships, families, marriage and partnerships. So it's a big old subject. And I've been sent some questions by some of you, which I'm going to read out. I'm just going to try and channel Metatron and give some answers to those questions that you've sent in. Before we do that, however, I'd just like to really say that over the last month in particular, but particularly the last 2 weeks, it felt as though it sort of coincided with the new moon that we had in Cancer at the end of last week. And Cancer, of course, is the sign of the home and the mother in particular, and it tends to bring up things to do with relationships as well. So I don't know whether it's that that's sort of highlighted and brought it to our attention, but there's just been a lot going on in one-to-one relationships and families, you know, anybody that we're close to. Almost as though what Metatron's showing me is little mini volcanoes going off in homes and communities. Not new stuff. This is the important thing to say. A lot of it is not new stuff. This is old, stagnant energy that has been around for quite a long time, that has been building up, very much like a volcano builds up, until it gets to a critical mass point. And actually, like the volcano does, it cannot be contained anymore. It has to be released. And so therefore, what's actually happening at the moment is a lot of old stuff is coming up to be dealt with and processed. But it is coming up in relationships, in families, in marriages, and also in parent-child relationships as well. So I know there are issues there as well going on a lot at the moment. So we'll try and deal with as much as we can today and ask Metatron for guidance on all of that. Before we do that though, I would just like to bring some colours in. Those of you that watch my videos know that I'm a colour therapist as well, and I've made a number of Archangel Metatron aura sprays that are here to help us heal. And today I'd like to draw two in particular so we can tune into Metatron's energy. And I'm going to work with the colours of the heart, which are pink and green, but I'd like to choose quite a light vibration. Within the system that I teach now, my Metatron system, there are a couple of different green bottles. We have a dark emerald green, which was born out of the work in Belfast, which is for recovery and renewal. Really deep healer, this one. And we have a lighter energy here, which is for the heart chakra, which is a cleanser. I feel as though I want to use the lighter vibration here, so I'm going to be using the lime. And I've also got two pinks to choose from. And we've got the fuchsia solar plexus spray, which is a very bright, beautiful pink. And there's a new spray that's coming out. It's not on my website yet, will be very, very soon. It's the Inner Child spray, and it's rose. And I'd like to use both, actually. I'd like to link into Inner Child a little bit later on, but we're going to start with this fuchsia pink. Just to get us tuned into Metatron. So firstly, I think what I'd like to do is put the green around all of us. So green is the traditional colour for the heart, and obviously the heart chakra situated here is all to do with relationships and how we love and also whether we give and receive in relationships. So let's just put green around ourselves. With your feet on the floor, I'd just like you to imagine a very soft, beautiful lime green energy, like a mist, coming in around you now. You can maybe imagine it as a cloak, soft lime green cloak that Metatron is placing around you. Or you might just like to imagine that you're breathing in that lime green energy. And on the in-breath, you're breathing in the lime green, and you're taking it all the way into your heart. You're taking it into your lungs. And as that lime green energy comes into your lungs, it's really just filtering out any old stagnant energy, and it is releasing and cleansing and helping you to let go of past pain. So just allow that process to happen as the lime green energy comes in. And then we're going to put the pink on top. So we're putting pink. This is quite a deep pink that you're imagining that you're breathing into yourself now as well. Beautiful pink light coming down, mingling with the lime green and just settling in your heart. The pink and the green, perfect complementaries to each other. And your heart understands these two colours. And it just helps to open your heart so you can really hear what Metatron is saying to you today. Because this guidance is coming from a place of love. So I'd like firstly just to say a couple of things. I've written two things down here. A few questions came in. Some of them were personal and some of them were more general. The more general ones I can obviously read out. But there were a few questions which obviously were about people who are unhappy in relationships and were feeling mistreated in some way, or not being treated in the way that they would like to be treated. And I've written down here, how we are treated is a reflection of how we treat ourselves. And this is why I'm saying to you that this is coming from love, because these sometimes are hard things to hear. When we are in a relationship or a partnership where we're being treated in a way that we know at deep level is not right, that maybe isn't serving us, that isn't necessarily based on real truth and intimacy and love. And it is so easy to blame the other person for that. In fact, it's the easiest thing you can possibly do. It's all their fault. From a Metatronic perspective, he will always bring it back to the fact that actually you are allowing that, and that how you are being treated is a reflection of how you are allowing yourself to be treated, as well as probably how you also treat yourself. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of whether we really truly love ourselves and accept ourselves, or whether we don't. And if we don't, if we find ourselves maybe unattractive, or we find ourselves boring, or I've got the word doormat in my head. There are relationships out there where we allow ourselves to be treated as a doormat. Well, you will attract a partner who absolutely will show you what that looks like. So it's a case of raising our own vibration so that we get to a place where we actually think we're okay, and we think we're more than okay. We actually really love ourselves. And this isn't in an egotistical way. It's just viewing ourselves as something precious and something that actually is worth looking after and nurturing. And when you look after and nurture yourself, you will find that reflected back in your wider relationships. Of course, there are sometimes situations when a relationship has got to a point of breaking point, and actually, however hard you try, that person is just entrenched in their position. And I think at the moment there are a lot of you at crossroads out there. And I really feel that you need to honestly look at sustainability. But before you look at sustainability in terms of whether this is worth staying in this particular place, you need to really look at, have you actually watered it and fed it in the way that you should have done? Any relationship takes work at the end of the day. And as I say, it's easy to play the blame game on a partner, but you really have to look to yourself with brutal honesty. And this is where Metatron comes in. There's no sort of, I was going to say get out of jail card, which is a sort of monopoly phrase, isn't it? It's a UK phrase, but effectively it means, there's no get out clause. You have to look at yourself. Also, the point about looking at soul level in terms of why you're even with somebody. Often we forget this. We forget the reasons why maybe we met somebody, we fell in love with somebody. What was it that actually attracted us to that person? As well as, what is it that we were meant to learn from them? And also, what were they meant to learn from us? And of course, that can shift and that can change over years. But you still need to be asking these deep questions at soul level. What is it that I am here to be learning from this person? And that's something very privately you can maybe do with Metatron, just by setting aside a space to tune in and bring in your higher self and also your partner's higher self. And it's almost like Metatron is the mediator between the two of you, and you allow your partner's higher self to speak, and then you allow your higher self to speak. And actually you look at each other in a totally different way than you do from a day-to-day life perspective, when we're all busy just sort of doing the shopping and cleaning and everything else that has to happen. So I'd encourage you to do that. I want to sort of now get on to the questions that I've been posed and then take it into a channeling of Metatron. The first question I've got here is written with such love and non-judgment, and I think it's a very beautiful question, but it does have some, it's obviously got a real difficulty lying behind it, which I think many of us are going to be able to relate to. And it concerns the fact that if you believe in spiritual evolution of the planet, going back to 2012 and that key date, 21st of December or 22nd of December, whenever it was, I can't really remember now. But there were teachers out there that were sort of saying, everything was going to shift dramatically, and that almost, if you weren't at the right vibration energetically, maybe you actually were taken off this planet onto a different level of existence, and only those that were of the same vibration or the right vibration would be here. Obviously that didn't happen. I never felt that rang true at all for me. What actually happened though was that 2012 opened up a portal through which those that chose to take it could increase their spiritual vibration and frequency so that they were more able to live in their truth, live from their heart, embrace what we call fourth or fifth dimensional concepts such as unity consciousness, unconditional love, sharing, cooperation, and really moving out of third dimensional consciousness, which is much more about the material world and drama. What, though, no one seems to really have discussed is that change has happened, but we are still often within the same family. Well, we're within our same family groups. Many of us are within our same relationships. We're maybe working at the same place we've worked for years with the same people. And so it's as though we're all operating on different frequencies. And that's what this question is about. So she says, "Hi Amanda, I would love any advice that Metatron has on balancing frequencies. How to stay at a high loving frequency and still be able to engage with family and friends that you love who may be on different wavelengths. How to bring balance and harmony in so that there's acceptance and understanding on both sides of the paths we are all on. Thank you." Okay. The phrase "how to maintain high frequency" when we are around those of a denser vibration. Maybe we are around those who are very angry, who are cross, who are frustrated, who are still in poverty mindset, who are in victimhood. Issues like this. How do we maintain a high vibration when we maybe have people around us with dense frequencies such as this, who we still love and obviously are still in our life for a reason? There's a key difference here between people who you have a soul contract with, such as families, children, partnerships, as opposed to other people who you do not have a soul contract with. These may be called acquaintances, people who you work with, who you don't necessarily have anything in common with, certainly not bloodline or anything that binds you in a lifetime to them. There are two things I want to say here. Firstly, with regard to the latter group, it is true that as you raise your vibration, naturally you will not want to mix so much with people of a lower vibration than you. And this is not judgmental, this is just literally in terms of wanting to be with like-minded people, and there is nothing wrong with that. And actually it is essential that those of you on your spiritual path do mix with like-minded people and share times together, which can be very simple but which are very important. And things such as ritual and ceremony work are also coming in here to the fore, where you gather in groups. This July is one time when that could happen very beautifully for many of you on this planet. So it's clear there is a choice. You can walk away from people, or you can just allow maybe friendships that have had their time to just maybe diminish in importance in your life. You don't necessarily feed them, you don't have to fall out with anybody, they just fall by the wayside. However, there are people in your life who are not meant to fall by the wayside. People that you love, people in your family groups, maybe people at work, people who have strong affiliations with, strong relationships with, and who you want to take with you on your spiritual path. The point is that each person has their own spiritual path to follow, and there should never be any judgment by you in terms of whether somebody is operating at a different frequency from you. This is old thinking. And I know the question that has been posed was not judgmental in its nature, but I do know that sometimes people who have these difficulties do act or do have judgment in their heart when they look at other family members or other partners and see something which they feel is dysfunctional within them. There are two things going on here. Firstly, the person that you view as being of a different vibration and not matching you anymore is still loved just as divinely as you are in the higher realms. And if you look at this in terms of soul level, many of you who you have important relationships with are people that you've had past life connections with. They may well be people that have already trodden the path that you are treading now in this life. And for whatever reason, they may have decided to come in to help you. It's very hard to grow or even to measure how far you are coming on your spiritual path if you have nothing against which to even measure yourself against. And I say measure, but this is a very earthly term because really that is not an energy that exists within the higher realms, but it is something that I know you understand by me saying that. So you have past life connections with many people who are in your family group, and please remember that there have been many lifetimes where they have been the one that have been your teacher, and maybe in this life you feel that you are their teacher, but really you are not, because the only teacher anybody ever has is themselves. Please just let them get on their own pathway without trying to convert, without trying to push your ideals, your beliefs onto them. That is not for you to do. It is fine to share ideas, to talk about what you believe in, but it is never about trying to convert or voice your ideas onto somebody else. In the same way that I was around you before you found me, I am also around others that you love who you feel need to find me. And they will find me in their own time if they are meant to in this lifetime. Often I have an unspoken agreement with these people anyway, and I love them and hold them, and they have been sent to you to be different from you, to actually help you, to keep you grounded. This is a very important concept also. Sometimes you live in a world of polarity, and so therefore sometimes you need the opposites to balance each other out. To be purely only with people of your own vibration is in effect where you've come from. It's the place where you came from, it's the place where you go back to. Because when all of us die, we go back to a unity consciousness that has the vibration of pure, unconditional love. But you came here to experience something different. You came here to learn about all the different spectrum of emotions, different types of people, different challenges, different tests, different moments of joy. And therefore you need people in your life who actually show you contrast. But that doesn't mean that the contrast is better or worse. It is just purely that, it is contrast. Yeah, that feels quite an important point there. The other thing I feel is important with this question is about detachment. Metatron is reminding me of when I first found him. And when I first found Metatron, it was through the colour system, colour mirrors that I used to teach, and also through a lady called Pippa Merivale who trained me up in Metatronic healing. Now I've gone on to develop my own system from that, but I'm always indebted to Pippa. And Pippa always used to talk about the fact that really what Metatron does is he removes the story from your body. That doesn't mean that you forget what has happened to you in the past, but it means that you lose the identity of maybe being the person who has been abused or who has been left. Sometimes we can get so attached to something that has happened to us in our life that we become the story. We literally just live it over and over again, and we attract more and more of it into our life. So Metatron, when he first came in, and this was about 2007, with this new energy from which I've developed something as well, it was all about removing the story from the body. And those of you that work with Metatron, those of you that work with me, those of you who just watch videos like this, it's very much about letting go of our stories and our dramas, stepping more into light. And hopefully we're successful in that and we get to a place of peace. The problem is, and Metatron's almost sort of saying this with a bit of a wry smile, is that we do that, but because we're so addicted to drama at a deep, deep level, we're very happy to let our own go, but then we look at somebody else's, and usually it's somebody else who we love, somebody who's very close to us, somebody in a relationship, somebody in our family group, and we start to look at their drama, we start to look at their story, and we get tied into it. And so what we have to do then is we have to detach from their story, from their drama. It's no more us than our story was. And so it's almost like it's quite an infectious energy drama. You know, it feeds off itself. So the first stage, I think, is what we've all done, which is we've tried to detach from our own dramas, or maybe we're continuing to do that. But the next stage is in detaching from everybody else's. And I was talking about this to somebody literally yesterday, because and I said to her, the answer to whatever problem we were discussing is in detachment. And I said, it's almost as though I can't teach you or can't tell you how to do that, because what I believe is it's an energetic upgrade that we get to. We actually get to a level of consciousness where we suddenly look around us, and many of you, I think, might relate to this, where you suddenly realise that people in your life might be operating in exactly the same way they always have done, but it's not touching you in the way that it used to. You are able to detach from it. My understanding is that this happens when you reach a certain level of consciousness. And I don't like to label it fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional, they're all just labels. It's really, I suppose I find, it's almost like a reward for having done the work. So if you haven't quite got there yet, keep going, because you will get to a place where you're able to completely detach, not just from your drama, but from other people's drama. And then I promise you, you will be able to be in the same room as family and friends. And partners, and your buttons are not going to be pushed quite as strongly. It doesn't mean they're not going to be pushed at all, because as I say, we go back to what Metatron said, we're here to learn and we need contrast. But it's when we take it in and it starts to actually affect us, that's when it becomes unhealthy. The next question I've got here, and I'm conscious that the time is 23 minutes, but I'm going to keep going with this because you can always take a break and come back and watch the last part of this. This is the next question. The lady asks for advice for those families who only have one parent, the mother who may find herself doing the traditional father things, or the father who may also be doing the traditional mother role. It's a really pertinent question, isn't it? Because there's many, many soul parents out there at the moment. And maybe you also know some, maybe you've got friends or people in your family who you're trying to support through that whole process as well. Here's what Metatron has to say on that. I'm just going to bring in the blue spray of peace here, putting that around now. Beautiful spray of sapphire blue, divine peace. And I'm putting the orange guiding flame light as well, going around. Nobody is truly alone on this planet. None of you are truly alone. You can feel alone. It is easier to feel alone when you are on your own, but I am also reminding you, you can feel very alone within an existing relationship. Whether you are in a relationship or whether you are a sole parent, whether you are two parents or one, you are always, always with me. For any parent out there who just feels they need some help at this time. I'll come back to the soul parent thing in a minute, but Metatron is just wanting to give you some healing. It doesn't matter how old your child is or how young, you never stop being a parent. And I'd just like you to feel the weight of his shoulders, the weight of his hands rather, on your shoulders. And I'm just feeling it does feel quite heavy, but in a good way. It's like a reassuring presence at my shoulders. And he's actually saying, I've got your back. And that is to all of you. It's like there is a safety net underneath you. You will not be allowed to fall through this safety net for those of you that place their trust and their faith in Metatron. Metatron watches over families. He watches over children of whatever age. And he helps parents with the lifetime process of bringing up a child. For those of you that are single parents, I say this to you. Do not try to be two people, because you can never be two people. Just try to be who you are to the best of your ability. Your child or children knew what they were signing up for when they chose you as their parent or guardian. They knew what they were signing up for. They chose you specifically for the experiences that you could give them. And into this comes the whole area, sometimes, of soul parenthood. There can be many blessings from being a soul parent. The bond that you can establish between yourself and your child or children can be so deep, can be so precious, can be so strong. It can also be karmic. It can also be sometimes to do with the fact that for whatever reason there is an intense karmic interplay between the two of you that needs to play out in this lifetime for you both to give and receive in different ways to each other. I say once again, do not try to be two people. Within every single person there is both the divine male and the divine female. You have both qualities within yourself. Society talks about the perfect union to bring a family up as being male and female. The most perfect union for a child to be born into is that of love. Love. And it does not matter how that love presents itself. As long as there is a foundation and a bed of love, that child will thrive. I understand from a soul parent perspective that many of you feel weary and tired and stressed and not knowing how to cope at times. But if you could only see that golden safety net, which I now let some of you see if you open your third eye to see it, a beautiful golden safety net underneath yourselves. You are always going to be kept safe and you will be provided for. I will show you the steps and the way forward. Invite me into your homes. Invite me around the union between you and your child or you and your children, and I will keep you safe. Try to balance out both your male and female aspects within yourself, whether you are a man or whether you are a woman. My energy helps to do this. Sacred geometry helps to do this. Colours help to do this. The union of blue and pink together, making violet, making purple. Beautiful colours that you have at your disposal. Crystals in abundance that help with these matters. Snowflake obsidian, calcite. For men that need to get more in touch with their feminine side, moonstone. For women that need to get more in touch with their male side, a red crystal such as red agate, red jasper. An exercise that you can do is to stand outside with your feet on the earth and just hold your arms out to the sides and just feel the energy in both hands. Feel it in your right hand side and feel it in your left hand side, literally as though you were a pair of scales. And I'd like you just to feel the balance of energy between your right hand side and your left hand side, and allow me to correct any imbalance that you feel there. And you may feel this as a pressure or a sensation of light that comes down on one side of your body. It does not take long. And then after that has happened, you just put your hands back into prayer position at your heart and give thanks for that. That's the first part of that question from Metatron. Sorry, there's another thing he's saying here as well, which is that as a community, we all have a responsibility to look after each other. And so therefore, if you see a single mum or a single dad who is struggling, whether it is the father who needs help with, I don't know, school run, meal to be cooked once a week, the mother for the grass to be mown, it's not saying that these people cannot do these things, but it is for us as a community to reach out to each other and also support them. Thank you. Last question I'm going to be looking at on this video is this one. And it's asking, is there any advice for parenting young children or young adults with special needs? And by this, we're bringing into the spectrum things like autism, as well as other conditions. To have a child with special needs, the key to this lies in the term special needs. The child is special. The child has come many times, not just to experience the world through different eyes and through the ability of different senses to the masses that exist on this planet, but to give opportunity for growth and learning to those they come to. If you could only see at soul level how amazingly, wondrously beautiful the energy is that they bring to your world, the opportunity that they present for others to open their hearts, to seek out new ways to help them, to be compassionate and caring, to practice things such as judgment or lack of judgment, to practice patience, to learn about hope, it's a special life that these children choose, and it's a special life for those that have the opportunity to help them. This does not negate how difficult it can be in earthly terms for both parties. But if you could feel the wave of love that is now coming to anybody watching this video who is affected by this, it is an endless, beautiful wave of pink love, of appreciation, of thanks, of gratitude to those that have signed up for this. There should be more acknowledgement amongst others to this role that is taking place in our society by those that have special needs, as well as those that care for them. There is an energy of humbleness here coming in and I feel quite emotional holding it. I just would like to send that energy out now of love and thanks to anybody in a situation who is a carer, or anybody who is in a situation where they struggle within their body, particularly children and young adults. But this wave of love that I now feel flowing through me from Metatron to you is so strong. Please just take it into your hearts, anybody that needs it. And as the breeze comes through the window, Metatron just reminds us of the winds of change as well, and that life is never ever static. Life never ever stays the same. Just as you think you can't cope with something, something will come along to help you, or someone will come along to help you. Things will change. Situations will develop. Try to take a day at a time. Try to allow that beautiful energy, which I really hope you felt over the video, to comfort you and give you strength. All of us now, taking it back to all of us, whether we're struggling with family, with relationship, with children, need to take the moment on a daily basis, ideally, to sit and receive. To sit and receive energy from Metatron to sustain us. I'd like to end by looking at this spray. It's the Inner Child spray. It's called Rose. It's rose geranium, rose otto, and yang yang, I think, or sandalwood. Haven't got it written down in front of me. I'd just like us now, because our hearts are so open, to give some energy also to our inner child. So, with your heart wide open, beautiful hearts open all around the world watching this video, I would just like you to link into your inner child sitting within your heart, allowing him or her a safe space just to be present with us. We're not going to do anything else other than just acknowledging that they are present with us. And in terms of your relationships this July, going into the summer months, just be aware that sometimes how we play out our adult relationships is what we've witnessed as a child. And so if it was dysfunctional, now is an opportunity to change that. Your child, your inner child, is ready to grow with you and to change with you. And Metatron will help to show you the way with that. I'm going to leave it there for now because we're nearly at 40 minutes and inner child is a huge subject in itself. Maybe I'll do another video on that very soon. In fact, I will do. I wish you a fantastic July, despite everything we've been saying. July, 1st of July, it feels like a very positive month. I got up this morning, went to the gym. I've had a lovely fruit juice made by my husband. My diet hasn't been that great recently, so I'm trying again. It feels like this is an opportunity for all of us. So it's almost like another January the 1st. That's what I'm feeling today. And so therefore take that also into your relationships and your families as well. I hope you found this video helpful. If there are any other questions that you'd like, and this is a general questions, not personal, please, because I'm afraid I don't have the time to answer everybody that contacts me. But if there are general questions you'd like me to cover in another video, maybe you could leave a post on the YouTube page or just email me and my email is amanda.ellis@tiscali.co.uk, or you can look at me on my Facebook page, Angelic Celestial Colours. All the sprays that I've been using today, they're all on my website, or they will be soon. The Inner Child spray and the Peace spray aren't quite yet there, but they will be very soon. So lots of love for now, and have a good rest of the day. Bye for now.